Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards, get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. Glad to be with you here at Friday Night Lights. Starting a little late because my man, the great Swame, was getting on his Baltimore Ravens stuff there. How to dig it out of what I know you buried it for the last few weeks. You're proudly wearing it after last week's game.
Dak, I'm here in my official capacity as scout. I am trying to make contact with a one Devontae Adams. Mr. Adams, if you're out there, please.
Oh, he's out there. It's going to take a third-round pick to get him, but he's out there. All right, Willie. I'm looking at this slate, and I'm nervous, and here's why. Feels to me like everybody knows the games to be on. Everybody knows the games not to be on. So it's like, how do we get a little weird on this slate before we start breaking it down player by player, team by team? How do we avoid falling in with everybody else on a slate like this?
Well, you know, the game that's interesting that a lot of people are on is the Ravens Bengals. You know, a lot of people like that game. I just like a couple of people in it. I like Henry in that game. You know what I mean? But I'm not a big fan because I think the Ravens defense is starting to, you know, get their identity back. And I don't and Burrow's struggle against the Ravens, you know. So, you know, Chase, all the numbers are down against the, you know, so a lot of people are on that game, and I think that's going to be a game that I'm going to avoid.
So, Swami, how do we get different on a week like this where it's a smaller schedule, right? Fewer games, only 10 games. A few of them are bad. How do we avoid being like everybody else?
I think, Doc, we keep it simple. I think the way to do it is to, maybe through your game stack, using your game theory, taking a stack that you think is, maybe one that's going a little bit under the radar, or a game that might be going a little bit under the radar, and stack that game. And then you'll still get the other pieces that you're looking for, but you'll be able to, I think, separate yourself and create a little leverage that way.
All right, we got to find that leverage, guys. So let's kick it off. Let's get to quarterback. Let's get to some of these guys out there. Willie, there's some expensive quarterbacks. You got to pay up for Josh Allen. You got to pay up for Lamar. You got to pay up for Stroud. Are you looking to go, and also Jaden Daniels, will you pay up at quarterback, or will you let it fly later, be in the mid to lower range?
My highest paid quarterback will be Jordan Love. That's my highest paid quarterback.
Okay.
Jordan Love. I mean, I respect everybody else. I mean, listen, Lamar is Lamar. Lamar can go off at any time, you know, so don't get that twisted. But I'm going to go with the games that I know that may get a little back and forth, and I'll give you some things, the reason why I'm going to those type of games. But
let me ask you a quick question about this first. What if last week Love looked great in the second half? He looked great. They were behind, and then he comes out, he's slinging in the second half. What if they're winning? And what if we're seeing more Josh Jacobs? Are you thinking that's possible, or are you still like,
I'm gonna play it both ways, and what I mean by that is like I said, Josh Jacobs is the leverage play of that game, because it could go either way. It could go with the receiving, with the receivers as well as Josh Jacobs. So where I don't have Love, I'm going to have Josh Jacobs in the lineup, because that will be the leverage play, to play it that way, and I'll have Wicks with him. I'll play two of them with him. So when I don't have Love, it's good. Josh Jacobs will be in that lineup. That's a great leverage play on this slate.
All right, Swami, are you paying up for one of those top quarterbacks, Allen, Stroud, Lamar, Daniels, or will you drop down too?
If I were to pay up, Doc, I would consider Mr. Allen and I would consider Mr. Jackson, only because I think those guys had the most potential to, again, go off, give you a 30-plus point game. But this week, I will probably agree. I'm looking maybe to pay down, like I was just describing, to get in a stack. that I think works. And so some of those stacks that come to mind for me are Lawrence, Richardson. I would definitely have some interest in any of those guys this week because I think they got a lot of potential based on those matchups.
Can we get so JS says something really interesting here. So let's focus on Jordan Love for a second. Dobbs is doubtful. Watson is out. We're looking at Reed, Wicks, and Bo Melton. Really, we're looking at those three guys as the main guys. Does that make this game even more obvious, Willie? Like we know who the partners are. So is the only way to get a little leverage to go Tucker Kraft or Bo Melton? I mean, how do we get a little freaky in this game? Or is it just
I don't need to go Tucker Kraft. I mean, listen, what it is, and I guess when we get to, let me tell you the reasons why I like this Packers game so much, just so you know. And this is got this from Rich Hebar from Sharp Analysis. It's very interesting. The Packers lead the NFL in plays of 15 yards or more, 37. 20 or more, 24, and 30 or more, 12. Okay. Now, the Packers also have allowed 32 plays of 15 yards or more, 30 and 17 plays of 30 or more. I mean, of 20 or more. So they've allowed the same thing. And then the Rams have allowed 19 plays of 20 or more, 30 for nothing, and they have allowed 10 plays of 30 or more. So all those things for me match up. And then another thing for me to match up is that you got to understand Wicks against cover three. They run a lot of cover three. He kills it. He kills it against cover three. He has a 36%, share rate. And then you go to the other guy who averaged a ridiculous 5 yards, Jaden Reed, against that coverage. So what they do, it matches up. So what I'm saying to you, when I'm not playing, like if I go to Brock Purdy, for example, instead of Jordan Love, then what I'm going to do, or if I go to Lawrence, then I'm going to play it differently than I am if I'm playing Jordan Love. But like I said, the guy that's going to make that thing, the leverage play is going to be Josh Jacobs.
All right, Swami, let me get a little crazy here for a second. You know I like my cheap quarterbacks. Can I take the elements of that Packer-Ram game and use Matthew Stafford as my quarterback?
Yeah, Doc. Only if you like one of his receivers. Stafford's not somebody who runs. To me, those type of quarterbacks, just like you trust in Trevor as well. Just like he said on First Look, if they can't run, it feels like you almost gotta put somebody with them. And so it's who do you like? So if we're going to do that, then that tells me you even like Parkinson, Atwell, or some combination of those receivers. So that would look more like a full stack as much as you like the Packers folks. So again, if you're talking to take, leverage, we know Stafford can throw the ball around. So it's who do you want to go with him? And I don't think it's that crazy, Doc.
All right, Willie mentioned Brock Purdy, Swami. That game is going to be popular. Brock Purdy is priced down in a very affordable way. Are you in on that game?
I don't know how much I like the game because Arizona has been inconsistent. So if it's the Arizona that comes out now that they got McBride back in the lineup, if they come out and they're able to keep up, then you got to like this game. I would agree with Walls. But if they come out and lay them stinkers that they've been putting out there on the field, and looking at, if Connor isn't able to run against the 49ers, if, they keep finding themselves in these third and longs and being off the field, then guess what? Mason and the 49ers are just going to steamroll them. And in that scenario, I don't know if I want any Rob.
Now, Willie, you mentioned Trevor Lawrence. What if Joe Flacco plays? What if Richardson is ruled out? Does he become a must play?
Oh, listen, if I'm not playing the Colts if Richardson plays. If Flacco plays, hell yeah, you in play if they play. He gets the listen. You can say what you want. I know what Swami thought about Flacco, but let me tell you something. If Miami had him, they'd be a different team. You understand what I'm saying? And I agree with Swami. They the dumbest team ever, by not doing that guy. I mean, it's just ridiculous that you're gonna leave Mr. Concussed as your only viable quarterback, which is ridiculous. So if Flacco plays, that changes everything. I mean, but regardless, one of my favorite guys. Well, we'll talk about that receiver, but I love Brian Thomas. So that's why I am a fan. I am a fan. I'm definitely a fan. You know, at $5,700, he is in play because with the Colts, they play that. They also play that cover 3. They get eaten up downfield, deep. Everybody's eating them up.
Can I interject here, Doc? Because
of course,
I tell Willie it's about matchups, and just like he kind of gave those stats about Green Bay, about what they do, we all know they're a different team when Love is in there, and Love missed a couple of those games. That impacts the defense as well. And so the same thing here with Mr. Richardson. Richardson plays some tough defenses. We all respect Green Bay and the way they've been forcing turnovers. They also played Pittsburgh, and we know that defense is playing well. Walls drafted Richardson in a number of leagues. Just don't throw him out now, especially when he's got a much better match.
That bastard got to show me. He got to show me. He stinks right now. He's on the bench.
Let's focus on guys we're actually going to play. I'm going to give you 3 other guys.
This might be a Swame Says guy. I think Pierce is in a great spot this week. I like his price.
We didn't even get to running backs yet.
I was talking about the receiver for the
Alec Pierce.
Yes, I think he's interesting this week. He's got an interesting price. He's got an interesting matchup. And I think it's some things to like about this Colts offense, even without Taylor. They're going to have to lean on Richardson. Just a GPP. Doc, if you can get crazy, let me get a little bit of your crazy.
All right. You could have my crazy. All right, let me get crazy. Giants, Seattle. Any interest in Geno or Daniel Jones at all?
I had a lot of interest in Geno. I think Geno's been playing well. He would have had a career game if Kenneth the Vulture Walker wasn't there. No, but all jokes aside, Doc, I think what hurts this game for me is Neighbors being out, right? He is what I thought would have given this game a chance to go back and forth. If he's not available, I don't know if the Giants can keep up. Now it's some combination of Walker. It's like once they get it in hand, are they really going to be pressing it? Is Geno going to throw it? This looked like one of them games where Geno going to throw it less than 30 times and where they're going to probably get out of here with, 180 yards and a touchdown or something from Geno. That's just not enough.
All right, Willie, can you get freaky with any other cheap quarterback, or we just I'll give you one. Deshaun Watson. Can we get a little crazy with Deshaun Watson?
Doc, let me take this one since this captain lost his way. Last week, I was Mr. You can't play. He's been playing poorly. That offense isn't scoring any points. And Justin Fields called me up just before kickoff. And he said, Swami, you got it wrong, buddy. You're an idiot. And what did he go out and do? Went out and almost broke the slate by himself, Doc. I mean, he had a couple of guys that played well with him in that game, but he absolutely did his thing. And sometimes, again, it's based on matchup. It's based on the way the game might play out, the way some, a bounce here, a bounce there, when they can do it. And guess what? I know we still in a wait and see, but why not, as Walls would say, be on the front end of this thing? Why not?
Well, listen. I was on the front end of Justin Fields last week, by the way, because I was on Justin Fields. And I'm going to tell you something. We'll be talking a little differently if Cooper's 72-yard touchdown.
Exactly. If he scores that touchdown, he's one of the top plays in the slate.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So we talk a little differently. It was a holding call that was questionable.
Bogus.
Very questionable.
Yeah, very questionable. So, listen. Against this Commanders defense, which is still in question to me, honestly. I mean, they play well, but you're also looking at who they played. I mean, this is a better defense, even though Cleveland is the most underachieving team I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
the bottom line is no to Watson.
No, not the bottom line. No, sir.
Give me the bottom line. Willie Walls, give me the bottom line.
Cooper, Doc.
Cooper's in play. But Watson, I'm not going to play.
Watson are in play this week. And I think they got this matchup, you can't overlook it. Don't be goofy. I was goofy last week. Don't be goofy.
All right. Don't be goofy. All right. Let's get to running backs. There's some guys up top. Everybody is going to be, when I say everybody, I think in tournaments, you're looking at 30% or more. Henry, Kyron, Mason. Henry, Kyron, Mason. Most people are going to have 2 of those 3 guys in their lineup, Swami. are you going to have two of those three guys in your lineup?
Yeah, I'm one of most people, Doc. I'm going to look for other ways, like I said, through that stack. I don't know how, again, this feels like a Mason game. They couldn't – he's going to be running wild. So I think you can take some chances with maybe that second and third guy. I wouldn't be mad. Again, those NFC North kind of games, those AFC North kind of games are rough and tough. So I could see me not necessarily putting Henry in that lineup with down price. But as far as
that is true, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Mason is my guy, and I got a lot of interest again in Swift. We started to talk about him last week, and he might be in a good spot against the Panthers this week as well.
You know, Willie, Derrick Henry doesn't catch a lot of passes. So how does he hurt you? If he gets 100 yards rushing and a touchdown, he's at what, 19? That doesn't kill you if you don't have him.
True.
Right? It doesn't kill you. A guy who puts up 25 kills you. So do I have to have Mason, Kyren, Henry? Which of those three do I have to have?
I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. Mason, I'm putting a lock button on him, and I'm not even thinking about that. He's in because he's also catching passes. Starting to catch passes too, and had one call back too for a touchdown. So anyway, Mason's lock button. Mr. Kyren is almost a lock button. He gonna be in most of them too. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, the usage he gets, and the team he's going against. He can eat. So he's my guy that's going to be in most of them. So I'm putting him over there. Now where I'm going to be different is these other guys. We got some other value here that I'm very interested in. So,
are you going to be different in receivers or running backs?
No. At running back, I'm playing three in every one, but you got a couple of interesting running backs that I think that are interesting.
Okay, so you mentioned Josh Jacobs, who's interesting.
Right.
Are you playing Swift? So let me look at this clump here, guys. Swift, Ford, Sermon. Swame,
I'm not even talking about none of those three. I'm not even talking about that. I'm going to take a chance.
I would move maybe Akers up and maybe Sermon down. Maybe.
Oh, hell no.
Based on matchup.
Akers, my aching ass. I'm not playing that bad. He stinks.
Willie, were you beating on Chuba?
No. Not Chuba.
No Chuba.
No. I'm talking about one guy that's 4,300.
Oh, you and everybody else is in on Tyrone Tracy.
That's okay. I don't mind it. I mean, I don't mind taking a shot with that dude at 4,300. He's a converted receiver. You expect him to be behind, correct? Am I right or wrong?
Give me the projection. So wait, I'm going to give you a projection. 30 yards rushing, 3 points. 5 for 43 receiving, 9 points. 12 points. Am I taking down a tournament with 12 points?
No.
Okay. You're not taking down a tournament with 12 points, but if he gets in the end zone.
Correct. If he gets in the end zone, I had to have it.
So what I'm saying to you is, for that type of leverage, I mean, his ownership is not, because you got Trey Sermon. So you got other people in that same ilk that, You
don't think his ownership spikes big time? He gets steamed up? I think he gets to 15 to 18%.
Okay. What's 15? I mean, you got Mason's going to be over that. It's going to be 20-something%. And he costs a lot of money.
So, I mean, why do I not want to be on Tracy? I know I don't want to be on Tracy.
Doc, I like to disagree with Walls, Doc, but when he's right those 2 times a day, Doc, I got to yield. It's the matchup. Again, the Seahawks haven't been playing very well. It seems like you can maybe run and throw against them. The Giants offense kind of still features and focuses on the back. You could try, Doc, but sometimes when you get a play like this, you look at the other 7 or 8 plays and you just leave this one alone.
So basically we take the free square and put Tracy in. You're telling me there's no way that Eric Gray doesn't get out there?
Just he's been phased out. He has distanced himself from Mr. Gray. And the thing that I like about him is they're going to be behind. Do we both believe they're going to be behind? Mm-hmm. This sets up, this guy is a converted receiver from Purdue, right? Why not get a guy like this? He had a 19 or 20 yard catch against the Cowboys. So what I'm saying is, why not get on somebody less when he's 4,300. Because next week, if he's out again, then what's the name out again? They're gonna jack his price up.
Well,
we getting a discount.
The only reason I'm saying no to Tracy, I know the player. I watched him play at Purdue. He's a good player. I mean, I think a lot of Giant fans are excited about drafting him. My question is, if he gets me 12 points, I'm not taking down anything.
But what that
am I wrong, Swame?
No, and 12 points is likely. I think you're being fair, if not optimistic, about what he could do.
Right.
And that, if he get a touchdown thing, I'm so tired of that. If he get 2 touchdowns, he will play. But the thing is, the Giants might not get 2 touchdowns, so he might not. At best,
right. No. You don't think the Giants are going to lose this game like 28-7?
Easy. They're going to lose it like that.
Going to get killed.
I think.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what do we love in here? We love garbage time, right? And what I'm saying,
we love matchups here.
I know we like matches, but listen,
I like money.
We like money, but what I'm telling you is, when I got it back at 4,300, I'm going to take that shot.
Okay? Did you take that shot with Cam Akers 2 weeks ago? Because I faded him.
No, I didn't. I had him in one lineup.
Why did you fade him?
Well, because he just stinks.
Okay, now Tracy,
I can't say the thing for Tracy. I've seen Akers. Okay, I can't say the thing. You cannot get that on. He has not had a shot. This is his shot. If he catches 7 balls for 70 yards and scores, and I mean, I'm just saying, guys, we don't know what he's going to do. And Seattle's defense, I'm sorry, they ain't the best defense in the world.
All right, let me ask you a question, Willie. Let me just throw out some ideas in my flex spot, okay? What if I go crazy and go receiver, maybe Curtis Samuel? Nobody's going to have him. Maybe Trey Tucker, maybe Bateman, maybe a Yoshevich who could explode in that kind of game. I'm just throwing some ideas out there.
Yeah, Yoshevich is Yoka Asifs.
Yeah, it's no explosion.
Because when what's the name came back, his Higgins, when Higgins came back, night to him. Don't even mention his name. Night. That's a night.
Look, I'm just trying to get away from Tracy.
I understand, but he's not chalk. But what I'm saying, John,
is Curtis Samuel a bad play in that game?
No, sir, I'd rather play. Man. Curtis, I got 2 words for Curtis.
You're trying to think of a guy whose name is Samuel, right?
Do. He is do. Not only
no way.
Hell no.
Curtis Samuel has a good week. Swami, take Curtis Samuel because I like him.
Yeah, I think Curtis Samuel, especially with who else is going to step into that role with Shakira? Like it just seems like it would be him.
Yep.
He runs those routes that he would get that target share. I think he would get most of it. I think we've already seen them start to connect. Again, Mac Hollins, I don't think runs those routes. So I think that's Shakira. And to me, Doc, I agree that this is why everybody else is looking to ride those 9 points they're going to get, because Walls don't mind the 9 points from a 43 guy. Me and you still want 18 to 20. Walls is cool with 9.
Willie, who ate up the Texans secondary last week? Christian Kirk. Why? Slot receiver. Curtis Samuel goes right in the slot.
Well, listen,
I'll take him over Tracy.
How much is Samuel? How much is he?
4,200.
Well, he'll make a lot.
See that look? That's his way, Doc, of saying, "Oh, damn."
Yeah, I
translate
it. Sammy Garden says you'd rather play Samuel Jackson over Curtis Samuel. All right, let's get to some wide receivers here. Chase, Collins, Tyreek. A lot of people are talking DK Metcalf. There's Debo. There's Reed. There's a lot of guys. Swami, talk to me. What are you thinking?
All right. Again, Neighbors was probably on the top of most boards against the Seahawks, which would put DK Metcalf in play. But once you take him out, then my willingness to pay up for a receiver then starts to go down significantly. So now, as Walls would say, the highest I might go is Jaden Reed. And the lowest I might go now is Curtis Samuel. But I don't know if I want to spend a lot of time with the folks in between. Some of the other guys that I mean, who I like because of matchups, we talked about Cooper all season long, Doc. Through these first 5 weeks, we've been leaning forward. So every time it was Mike Evans, when nobody was on Mike Evans, like each time Kirk last week. You know, everybody was calling me all kinds of names about Kirk. I'm saying, again, they have to get it going in Cleveland. This is the game for them to get it going. Tyreek Hill. Again, I don't want to make any bad jokes about him still being in the custody of that local sheriff's department, but he is not being somebody I'm considering to play until his quarterback returns. I can't. I got to recuse myself from Tyreek Hill conversation. But DJ Moore in a revenge factor, Doc, I think is a man of interest. Wayndell Robinson, and obviously the stuff that's going on in Green Bay.
Willie, here's the question. If Swame's right and a lot of people want to be cheaper at receiver, they're going to get more expensive at running back. If that happens, we're going to see 60 to 70% of lineups look the same way. Do we want to be cheaper at running back and higher at receiver to get some leverage?
Listen, a play is a play. The way I look at it, I'm trying to make the best plays. So at receiver, I like the mid-range better. I'm honestly, I'm not going to chase, okay, against the Ravens. I'm not doing it. Anytime that's why I'm not going to be on Henry as much, because anytime that division plays, man, the points are not as much as they are in other divisions. So I'm just not going to go there. I like people like Brian Thomas. I think Brian Thomas is going to be a freak. Listen, this dude has got it all. And I think that now, and he's in the perfect type of matchup going against, they play that cover thing. That's what he eats up. He gets that share, that 25% share of targets. And every game they give up stuff deep. And Mr. Thomas is a man of interest this week to me. I like Mr. Thomas. I like Brian Thomas. I like another guy. There's a couple other guys that I like a lot now, and people ain't talking a lot about him. But I like the guy for the Rams. There's one guy like
Whittington or Tutu.
No, I like Whittington. Okay, that Tutu is also interesting, but Whittington to me played 97% of the snaps.
Well, he's a very good blocker, Willie. He's a great blocker. That's why he plays.
No, I get it. But also catching 6 for 62 is also a man of interest to me too. And he's going to be in that cup type of role. You understand what I'm saying? And what I'm saying to you is, I think they're going to be trailing. I just think he's a man of interest to me. I like him, so I'm not gonna poo-poo that. I'm glad he didn't score, because if you take the same thing for that price point, and the dude gets in the end zone and gets like 80 or 90 points and gets in the end zone, it's a whole different story. So I do like him. And then we're gonna talk about these. I already got what my stack is gonna be in that game, where I might have 5 players from that game. But so that's the people that I have interest in. I have people like that, and I agree with Swame. And Jaden Reed and Wicks. Come on, man. I ain't overthinking that. I'm not gonna overthink it. Because Green Bay's defense is horrible too. They give up stuff too, and that's why I say. So actually, it's not a bad thing with Stafford, man, because Green Bay's defense stinks.
I don't agree with that. But Doc, do you agree that there's some risk with playing Chase because of his price?
Yes. And the thing is, I like Chase. I don't love him. And I need to love him, right? I need to feel like at $8,000, I got to envision 30 points. Right. I see Burrow with a good game. Vegas has Burrow at 255 passing yards, but I don't know whether I see Chase getting me that 30 that I need, which is why I've got to fade him. And I'm going to fade Nico Collins too, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, no, because the Bills, what the Bills do, they cover the outside receivers.
Right.
To your point with Curtis Samuel, that's what they get, so it would be more of a Diggs. If you had to go with anybody in this game, it would be more of a Diggs game.
Or even Schultz.
Nico Collins. Yeah, that.
And y'all don't like the revenge factor for Mr. Moore, DJ Moore, that is, going back against his Panthers.
Let me ask you this question. Is J.C. Horn covering DJ Moore or not?
He is likely to be covering Horn at least for a good portion of the game.
then he maybe goes 6 for 70 and a touchdown, and I can live without it.
Okay.
It's not that I like it, but at 19 points, I'm not taking. Look, cashing is wonderful. I want to take down a tournament. Now I see everybody here telling me, DK Metcalf, DK to the moon, DK to the moon. Are you telling me that DK is going to get 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, or are you telling me this is going to be Kenneth Walker?
I'm saying Kenneth Walker. If Metcalf does it, it's going to be maybe, he's been wide open a couple of times this year. If he hit one of those home run balls where on one play he's basically going 60, 70 yards and a touchdown, then he has a chance to, I think, hit 150 or whatever that number was they put out there. But if you don't see it coming on one big play, there's just no reason for them to throw it as much this week because the Giants, I don't know if they can keep up with Seattle after they score a couple of times.
Swami, I'm with you. What if DK Metcalf goes 3 for 73 and a touchdown? Did I have to have that game?
Not at that
Or
price.
3 for 103 and a touchdown. So that gets me what? 13, 16. That gets me 23. Maybe 3 for 103 and a touchdown. I need that game.
If Neighbors played, it would be a whole different environment. I'm just telling you, he's that type of guy that is special. And when he's not there, just like I'm not playing Robinson. I get it. Seattle's normally good with that little short pass thing. And they don't have – and see, Neighbors was opening up for Robinson. With no Neighbors, they're like, man.
Why have I not heard the name Michael Pittman? How is he not a living lock for every lineup if Joe Flacco is playing?
If Flacco's playing, it changes the whole thing. If you hear me giving an endorsement for Richardson, Doc, and you guys already know the consistent. The situation between me and Joe Flacco hasn't changed since he was a Raven. I'll just stop there. But anyway, what he's done since he's left Baltimore, you can't deny. And so for that reason, if he's in there, again, I like Downs. I like Pittman for sure. I think they're going to be throwing it a lot. And then you might even get a bump to that running back if Flacco's in there as well.
I think Pittman's a lock. All right, let me ask you this question for cheaper receivers. We mentioned Wan'Dale, right? I know we talked about him. What about Darius Slayton? Nobody's talking Slayton. Maybe they should. And let me give you another guy, Swami, who I mentioned the other day, Rashad Bateman. This feels like a Bateman week. It just feels like a Bateman week to me, Swami. Talk to me about Slayton and Bateman.
All right. Well, with Slayton, I'm not mad at Slayton. Remember when we got on him last year at the end, and he kind of finished the season real strong. You could see him, and I'm talking about Daniels going back to him in a game like this. We know they'll be throwing it. Slayton's the guy that might get lost in the defense and possibly hit a big one. So again, not mad at him. Love the price at $3,900. And I think they're going to have to throw the ball. And to me, if you're like somebody like a DK, when I talked about those trying to find that sneakiness, as you say, that nastiness, Doc, if I'm playing DK, I might try to sneak in a Slayton coming back. Like, I just feel like the game where DK is going 8 for that $123 and that touchdown or 2 is a game where the Giants are at least making it competitive some kind of way. And I would want to figure that out, whatever that piece is. And as far as
Bateman,
my team, let me say this. The tight end position used to be one that was featured in Baltimore. Certainly we had 2 tight ends, and now 2 tight ends has turned into no tight end. I'm not really sure of nothing but one thing. They're going to move the ball around. Flowers will be involved. Bateman, Aguilar, Henry. I don't know. As long as we're putting up points right now, I'm going to take it. But I don't take Bateman. Right now.
Willie, you like Slayton? Can you get on Slayton?
Slayton's not. I don't think that's what's his price, by the way?
$3,900.
$3,900. What about Trey Tucker? Willie?
I'm not on Trey this week as it was the past 2 weeks. So I'm not on Trey Tucker. But a guy that I got a little interest in is Cortland Sutton going against the Raiders. I think that's a interesting guy that people, a lot of people are not going to play or talking about, but it's a great matchup going against the Raiders. And I just think Cortland Sutton is definitely a guy that can
double-digit targets.
I like it. I also think, guys, I'll give you a sneaky one. I think Jerry Jeudy's sneaky. I know we're all thinking Cooper, but Jeudy's been getting a lot of targets every week.
No.
All he has to do is break one tackle against that Washington secondary, which is, ass of the mill.
Listen, if wasn't that game would have blew up more if that guy didn't fumble the ball when Arizona was driving the ball. See, people don't remember that. They was going to get 21 points, which would have kept Khan in the game, would have kept everybody in the game. Metcalf, then, after that, they pulled everybody and the game blew out.
Is Njoku expected back this
week? He is. That's a good call there, Swami. So let's get to that. Nice pivot right to tight ends, guys. I mean, the tight end is just, I think Danger said it best, that people want to be cheaper on tight end. Because why spend an extra $2,000 if both guys are going to get you 8 to 10 points? So, Willie, are we playing Kittle? Are we playing Brock Bowers? Are we playing Kincaid? Or are we just dropping down?
Listen, I'd rather play Brock Bowers than Bowers right now. I'm not doing it. He won't be in one lineup. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not playing him. I think Njoku's an interesting guy. If Watson to come back for Jacksonville, I think that'll be interesting. If you want to pay up if he comes back from Jacksonville. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Listen, if I'm gonna get the production I've been getting at tight end, let me tell you something. I'm gonna save money on that, and I'm paying down.
So who are you gonna put in your team?
Let me say this. Just like I had interest in Pitts last night. For some sneak, I never seen Andrews at $4,000. Never have seen him at $4,000. Man, if this is going to be a place where he can't do it against Cincinnati, I'm just saying this will be like a Mark Andrews kiss my ass. Everyone, you kiss my ass. I dropped passes last week. I'm just saying $4,000, man. I gotta take a couple of shots at Andrews. I get it. He stinks.
People out there, bring it. Camera 2, bring it in. We've been down this road. We've done this thing where we've held out hope for these tight ends. That ship is sick. And Mark Andrews was on the back of that boat. No, thank you. These guys who've given us 1 catch or 0 points, I'm apologizing for us even mentioning some of them. The caution flag is up. The yellow caution flag is up on tight end for good reason. And Mark Andrews is the best example of why it's up. You can't play. I don't care.
Hey, are you playing in one of those old Chinese movies? Because when you're talking, it looked like you're in an old Chinese movie where you're talking before or after when you talk. Something's going on with your audio. So.
Look. Ingram is the man if he plays. Okay, if he's playing, I think everybody thinks that way. Willie, I think you were very wrong about Brock Bowers. I do, because I think Patrick Surtain takes Jacoby Myers out, and I think all of a sudden Brock Bowers stunk last week, which we had a feeling was going to happen. They have to go to him. He is legitimately their best receiver.
And
how do you not go to him?
We know they're going to have to throw. He's second or third on my board. The way that Denver plays, the outside is going to be tough. I don't think they're going to try too much out there. Bowers in that middle, he's going to be where they're going to try to work. And Doc, you meant who to play. Now, Kittle, if you think it's going to be some back and forth in that game, McBride, because they're going to have to throw it. This if you're paying up, and then it's Bowers, right? But Bowers, to me, is probably sneaking up a little bit higher because we are certain that he's going to be involved in that game. Ertz has been involved, but I don't really like him as much. We talked about the Ravens tight ends. When you got 3 or 2, you got none. So then that leaves you talking about guys like Tucker Kraft,
who I like. I like Tucker Kraft
and Gesicki, right? So, and that's where I think we all think we should land. I'm not mad with Ingram if you think he's healthy. I don't like those soft tissue injuries on big guys, but those 3 is where I think we need to land on.
Why have you not mentioned Dalton Kincaid? That game could explode. If you're telling me that if any game on this slate could explode that people are not talking about, it's the Bills-Texans. You don't have Shakir covering that middle. I like Samuel, but are you telling me that Dalton Kincaid is not going to be sitting there in the middle?
Is this Shire? Who is it? They're like number 1 against that tight end position.
Listen.
Like they pretty tough. Am I got that wrong, Doc? I'm not.
I'm checking literally as you speak. The
Okay.
Texans are pretty good against the tight end. 10 receptions, 49 yards. But let me check something out here.
Okay.
Last week they played the Jaguars, who have Strange. The week before they had the Vikings, who had Johnny Munt, who stinks. They played the Colts in week 1, who don't have a tight end. So let me check week 2 against the Bears. Week 2 against the Bears, Cole Kmet went 4 for 27. That's basically your frame of reference right there.
Well, we'll see, but hold it. But see,
Fair.
let's say this.
And inside the numbers, that's fair. And,
but
out, you expect that they're going to lean on the tight ends in the short passing game in some respect as well.
And by the way, Johnny Munt had a touchdown against the Texans, and he dropped another one.
But what is Kincaid? What does Josh Allen do? He's a spreader, right? He's a spreader. Nothing's concentrated. That's why I don't.
Willie, I need 20 points for my tight end. If I get 20 points, I'm taking down a tournament.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I don't think he's going to give you 20 points. That's my point.
Then he's a bad play.
Yeah, I mean, but my point is, I mean, you got. I think I'm going to say in the range of a Parkinson, that type of range. That type of range there. Because listen, I'm tired of paying up. Unless Ingram, I am interested in Ingram if he plays. I am very interested in Ingram.
Let me give you a comment, which I believe, as I'm getting older, I'm getting smarter in many ways. I'm getting dumber in others. I think you need 20 points from a tight end, and I think you need a defense to score at least 1 touchdown. If you can get those 2 things on a given week, your chances of taking down a tournament goes up exponentially. If you had the Atlanta Falcons last week, you probably cashed.
Yeah. I had the Falcons, by the way. But I want to say, I think, and I mentioned it to Walls as well. I told him, I said, them at home, watch out. There's some sneakiness. That was, I think he agreed. But Doc, I'll say this. I think while I can't disagree with you, I think it's just, to Willie's point, it's just been hard to find a 20-point tight end.
Agreed.
The guys that we trust were disappointing. And so while I think it creates some leverage taking a shot, and again, they're not bad shots. Bowers, McBride, Kittle, I think they're still all great shots. It's just some risk there that I think Willie's just trying to avoid that risk. But
I will take Bowers, and I will hope he goes 6 for 60 and finds the end zone, gets me the 18, that gets me close to the 20, and I gave myself a shot to win. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not mad at that because
listen, I just don't like picking on. Listen, that Denver defense, man,
it's good.
That Denver defense, they're good. And they're going to be one of my highest owned defenses I'm playing on this slate.
That doesn't mean they're going to throw a shutout.
Give me Kraft or Parkinson in the game with some back and forth with that discount. I feel a little bit more comfortable.
But this is my caution flag on Kraft. Every week that has happened, every time a tight end goes off, and Kmet. The next week, plop, fizz. Kraft just went off. We know what Green Bay did. We know they throw to different people. He's not necessarily going to be that guy.
They don't have different people. It's based on matchups.
I get it. But what I'm saying to you is this. Kraft, what I'm saying to you is every time somebody go off, and this is a matchup, but it's not guaranteed because they throw to the receivers a lot. That's all I'm saying.
Receivers. That's the point.
All right.
I'm talking about wide receivers.
They're out.
Willie Walls, I'm giving you $100. Who's the stack?
Oh, this is my stack. $100. Okay, you give me Mr. Love. You give me Mr. Wicks. You give me Mr. Reed. I'm a running back. You give me Williams, the running back for the Rams, and I'm gonna throw in Mr. Jordan Winnington. I'm gonna have 5
So
people.
Game stacking.
Game stack.
Swami, what's your $100 stack?
Doc, first, you can't let them get away with that. I mean, come on, Doc. I mean, my grandmother gave that out at bingo on Wednesday. And she barely.
You didn't mention Mr. Whittington, sir. You had no time. You didn't even mention Mr. Whittington, so shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Your grandma is very smart too, Swami. So I mean, we know that.
Yeah, I know. And she wins a lot of money when she goes so shut your mouth, sir.
Doc.
63.
Bingo. That guy.
No, when she goes to Atlantic City,
I refuse to give you something that chalky. I'm going this direction. I'm even going to give you a Lawrence with a Kirk and an Ingram. I really like ETN. We didn't talk about him. He has some of his better games against the Colts. He hasn't done much. He's been decent, hasn't done much. So give me ETN, Kirk, and Lawrence. Bring it back with Pittman or Pierce. And I'm telling you, that's the kind of stack that we're looking at to take something down. Everybody, and they say, and my grandmother is going to have that. You know, I don't talk ownership now. Everybody's going to have that doggone stack there. And my second one, so folks out there in Dr. Roto TV land, is y'all look out for them Browns this week. I don't trust them neither, but look out for them Browns this week against the Commanders, and they are very friendly, and they'll help you get something going. And that's the kind of game that can take something down.
That is a kind of game that can get a little freaky on you. I'm going to go with, man, I do like the Colts stack a lot. If Flacco's the quarterback, like a little Pittman and Downs and then bring it back with an Ingram or a Brian Thomas, I can get behind that. But I think I'm going to go with a Purdy, Jordan Mason, Deebo Samuel stack. I feel good about that. I feel Purdy, maybe he only throws for 250 yards, but like 4 TDs or something ridiculous, and 2 of them go to Deebo. And then I can get I can get Mason in there. So I kind of like that one.
Don't you feel like you got to have McBride or Harrison coming back? Just something the way that game takes off?
No, I think ours. Let me tell you something. I've noticed this, and I want you guys to take. Do you know how some quarterbacks stay in that pocket and take that hit? When the pocket comes, you know where Kyler goes? Straight to the ground. Watch it. The dude goes to the ground before they come hit him. He never takes a hit.
Not Will.
Yeah, 13 points against him last year. Yeah. So, but my point on this one though is if he throws for 4, then Mason can't be in your line.
All right, so maybe he throws for 2 and they go to Deebo and Mason runs for 2 and I get all 4 touchdowns.
Mm. Okay, I mean, yeah, because if he does
all
that,
right, balls to the walls call from Willie Walls.
I got 2. I told you before. You heard his name before. Tyrone Tracy is one, and my second one is Mr. Sutton of Denver.
I like the Mr. Sutton one. I like it.
He has been quiet. It's time for him to have one of those Courtland Sutton games.
Swame says what?
Swame says if he give you some chalk again, doctor, you let him get away with it. Like a cheap chalk seems like his thing.
Is Courtland Sutton chalk? No, he's not.
Courtland Sutton was a good one. That was a good one.
No, that was balls to the wall. I would give him Sutton based on all things considered. But come on, Trace, he just.
Hey, listen, we got it. I'm just no. He's not going to be. He's not chalk. I'm telling you.
Swame, what you saying? Swame says what?
Doc, I think I'm going to go with my guy again this week. I'm going to have to. This is the last week if he doesn't do it this week. Cooper. I'm hanging with Mr. Cooper. He'll get one more.
Sir, that's more chalk. What are you talking about? That's chalk.
I don't
People
know.
talking about Cooper. You ought to be saving yourself. And he going against you. Let me scratch the board on that one. You going to talk about Tyrone Tracy? And you talking about Cooper? Get on out of here. We know Cooper will go for 200 against him. Get on out of here.
Fair is fair. He might be crazy, but he's not wrong. So I'll give you something that people are looking at. Give me Ramondre Stevenson.
All right, he's not starting. And people won't play Stevenson because he's not starting, which makes it interesting.
I wasn't like really feeling.
Give him a chance to change it.
Let me tell you, I wasn't really feeling the offense in New England. I think they're doing that to kind of shake things up and get folks' attention. I don't know if this is a he won't play kind of thing. I think this is just get folks' attention, get the team kind of riled up. The person they shouldn't be starting wasn't the running back. I'll tell you that. It was somebody else behind in the backfield.
I'm going to give you 4 crazy flyers. 4. And I think 2 of them hit. 1, Rashad Bateman. 2, Tutu Atwell. 3, Curtis Samuel. And who was the 4th? I just had a 4th guy. Oh, Bo Melton. 2 of those 4 scored a touchdown this week. Can't tell you which 2, but 2 will.
I think that's fair. I can't really.
I told you about Tutu. Tutu is he's been playing good ball.
Tutu's my guy. I don't know if I would call that
But I think one of those guys is going to give you leverage on those games, right? Melton gives you leverage on Wicks or Reed. Tutu gives you leverage on Whittington and Kyron. Samuel gives you leverage on Kincaid and Cook. I'm just trying to find a guy in a game that I like that I can get a little leverage on.
Then what about Gibson then, if y'all think, because I thought that was more about Mayo just saying that Stevenson because he fumbled and all that kind of, I thought it was more get his attention. But if you don't, then I think I'll go with
No, I think Stevenson's a brilliant call. I think that's a brilliant call because nobody's going to play him now because he's not starting. So they bench him for the first series and then they play him.
Right. I think it's to get his attention, Walls. But if I'm wrong, then you're right. Then it was.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't. Listen, New England stinks. I don't know what else to tell you. And until they get that other quarterback, their line is horrible, and that's why they can't play their quarterback because Wilson's getting killed.
Bill Belichick said when he's watching Caleb Williams, he goes, "They put a lot of skilled guys around him, but they didn't give him a line." Same thing with the Patriots. You got Drake May, but you didn't give him receivers or a line.
No, and it's hard.
Getting the dude killed.
You get it killed. I mean, so that's why I don't mind. Like when Patrick Mahomes, people forget that first year he sat. He basically sat.
But this is what I mean. Matchups. When New England had matchups where they could run the ball even a little bit, and I'm talking about the first 2 weeks. Again, they rushed the ball. Ramondre had over 20 touches in each game.
Yep.
They were a lot closer. They had a chance to win both games. They split. But then when they couldn't run the ball, his carries weren't there. The offense didn't seem to be able to do nothing when they couldn't run the ball. So
he will play 3 quarters. He'll sit the first quarter.
Right.
And then
but until he stops fumbling, though, guys, y'all don't understand. When you get the hiccups, and that running back gets the hiccups, that's not an easy thing.
When you're playing bad football and your coaching is bad, you got to sit yourself down as a coach. You got to sit your quarterback down.
No, but my point is this: you cannot fumble the ball. Right. And what happens when you label a fumble? What are people doing at each time? They're swiping at that ball.
But you can't blame the guy for as bad as they're playing.
All right, let's get out of here, guys.
Put the ball on the
Let Willie go to work. Willie, go to work. Make some money. All right.
He stinks.
For Doc, Willie, and Swame, we tell you to be well and
take care.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.
Hey, there was no baseball on today?